went in my chest, and it was the sins of the father are born onto the children, right? And I thought it just was weird. It was, because that environment that I was in, why I was in that environment was nefarious reasons. I was there for a drug deal. It was, that thing flashed through my head, and I thought, I'm not going to do that to my kids. I'm just not going to. And wherever those thoughts come from, God, the universe, past training, one sentence that we can give in a moment of being unselfish to someone who needs to hear it sticks and makes that one break from tradition, from patterns, from habits that create negative outcomes, right? And so that led to me leaving that lifestyle. And then it was, I got a $6 an hour jobs peeling, hand peeling logs, and just kind of started to, that wasn't enough. I was like, I've had enough being a low paid, worker. Then I would go, I need to learn a trade. So then I learned how to lay carpet. And then I'm like, well, the power is in being a business owner and working inside in sales. So then I did that. And then being the business owner, and then having my own company and crashing it because I didn't have the intellect, the knowledge. I did have the intellect. I didn't have the knowledge or the skill sets given to me at that point in time to know how to run a business. Well, then I crashed that one. I figured out what not to do. I crashed another one, figured out what not to do, crashed the third one. And then basically, like most human beings, I lost connection. I thought, well, if I'm not good at this, I'm unhireable. I've got a criminal record. There's nobody that's going to hire me. There's nobody that's going to invest in me. And I kind of lost it. And that led to a breakdown that led me to Tony Robbins, which was, I'm done with this life. And that was a close call with suicide that I was like, I'm done. And for multiple reasons, which we may talk about in the future, I didn't do it. And then it led into Tony Robbins and learning his skill sets and an interaction with him that was unlikely, that just basically stated that everything that I was getting in my life was because of my own decisions. And that was that moment when I understood that from Tony, that message was really the things that have led to today. Because I stopped blaming everybody. I stopped looking outside of myself for solutions. I figured out that nobody's coming to save us, right? That we are imbued with the blessings called our challenges because it strengthens something inside of us to be able to serve, which is why we're here. And that's the only thing that gives us genuine happiness, is to become as good as we can with reading and experiences and failing and trying, and then having that strengthen us for the people that need us so that they can be lifted to the next level. And that's the only place that I've ever found happiness, is in that service. Anytime I've been selfish, and I've been selfish multiple times, I am not an imperfect human being. I cheated on my wife. I crashed companies. I have done horrible things in this life, but not twice. One thing I've never done is raise my hand to my children or to my wives. So that I want to make sure it was clear. I learned that lesson early, but I made a bunch of mistakes, and what happens, I see a lot. And what happened with me was, you make a mistake, and you put a pin in it and you stop trying, right? You're just like, well, I guess I wasn't meant for anything else in that deal. So if my life has led to one thing in that moment of saying, you know what, I can't blame anybody else. My life, my physical appearance, my money, my relationships, all of those things are in direct proportion to my intellect and to giving, not being selfish. All of my pain in life came from being selfish, from wanting things for myself, from trying to take advantage of other people, for trying to shortcut principled approach to different items, whether that's relationship or whether that was money or whether that was my body. There is pain to pay for making bad decisions in the attempt to shortcut things, because there are none. And then also having the wrong objective, right? So if I was to say the one thing that I learned was stop blaming people and have an objective in some way, shape, or form to serve other people. And that's sort of my simplified approach that has really served me. And there's, again, I think that's probably enough to answer your question. Sorry, I don't want to keep going on and on.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, Jason. And as a therapist, I could unpack a lot of things that you said, but that would probably help a lot of viewers. But I'm going to just highlight a few. And one of the things that not only with watching your Facebook Lives, but conversating with you and just following you, one of the things that I always push forward, not only as people trying to heal, but also as a business owner myself, is being true and transparent. Because in the very fact that you are transparent and saying, look, don't look up to me, I've made some mistakes, but I've learned from those mistakes, so let me help you by these mistakes. Because to me, it's not even about a degree. I mean, yes, I need to have a degree with what I do, but my business coach 8 years ago, when I started Life Counseling Solutions, I had went to a workshop and connected with her, connected with her, and I just loved her. So I hired her as a business coach. And when I hired her as a business coach, I wanted to start Life Counseling Solutions 10 years from the time that I hired her. Wow. So I had started Life Counseling Solutions within a year of hiring that coach, and I had brought her in to coach my team. And Jason, when she coached my team, someone had asked her about where she graduated from. And she said, I don't even have a high school diploma. And, when I look back at that, in that moment, it shocked me because what she said, I connected with, and it caused me to, and what she said to me, which stands out in my head, she said, Janie, action builds courage. So from that moment on, I started making some risks. I was fearful. I took some risk, but her degree at that point didn't matter because I had gotten the results and she helped me learn from what I needed to learn. So I just appreciate that transparency and you being authentic. And yes, some people need degrees. If we go to a doctor, you want them to have a degree. So I'm not saying anything about degrees, but I'm saying in your pain, you turned it into purpose. When I look back at hearing your childhood, there are people that we can get stuck there. We can repeat the same pattern and we can get information, because having information doesn't make a change, right, Jason? So we can hear information, know that we can go to Tony Robbins, we can get all this information, but unless we actually connect with that information, then that's where we're able to make those steps and take risk. So with that being said, because I think that's huge for not only our viewers and our listeners, right? Because if we can read books and take that information and then, turn into something great, I mean, I would be out of a job, so to speak. So when you think about getting that information and you connecting with yourself, being authentic, being transparent to where you are now, what would be some common mistakes that people make in business in particular to get to where they want to get to? When I look back at myself, it was fear that was holding me back. I was putting it off to 10 years. And she said, let's get out the whiteboard. Let's draw out the numbers. Let's draw out a strategic plan. And that strategic plan turned into 8 or 9 months later. So when you see some of the mistakes that us as business owners can make, what would be some of the common ones that you yourself have made and you've learned from them and we can glean from that wisdom?
Well, great question. And I love that story because now, I've got clients, Yale grads, Harvard grads, Wharton School of Business grads that bring me in, to their organization. So I definitely connect. I would love to meet her someday. That would be fantastic. But I think the biggest mistake, and I'm going to start prior to business, because business to me is nothing but a conglomerate of human beings, even if you're one person, right? A business is representative of human beings. And so those human beings bring with them into that organization all of their strengths and their weaknesses, their fears and their hopes into a business. And I think that's the biggest mistake, is before you start your business, you connect what you're about to do in business with non-metric items, right? Like you come in and you're like, well, a lot of people have started a business or worked in a company where they're like, I don't want to be like that, right? So they go in and they're just all emotion. This is my passion. This is my blah, 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 blah. 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by, and they go, I don't even like this shit anymore. Like, it's like, so the first thing, no matter where you are in business, that must be addressed is, what is your outcome for this stream of revenue that you are about to embark on, or that you're embedded in now? because I see a lot of people that get a successful company going. Successful is a wide term, by the way, but they get involved in it and then they get bored and then they start hating the thing that they did. So they go start another thing. And that's where trouble starts with entrepreneurs, right? Is because we're restless spirits and we want to keep going. And then they risk this positive cash stream for another thing, and it kind of crashes both. So the first thing is getting crystal clear with and unloading yourself from the mistakes that you've made in life that you're afraid of the rest of the world finding out, right? A DUI, cheating in a marriage, jail time, whatever it is that you're carrying around in this backpack, to let that see the light of day, and I've seen so many people do it. And I've done it myself. I wrote a book about all the mistakes I made and then went on to make more mistakes. So that's why, thank God, there's Facebook Live where I can go, guess what I did today? Before anybody else goes, did you know what Jason did? It's the stupidest thing, right? And you all have it. I mean, I'm doing one of my shows is going to be about why CEOs are so disliked, why presidents and leaders and different things, are so disliked and why they have so many haters. But the point is that the fuel that haters have is the mistakes that you refuse to let see the light of day, right? That's a fuel they have. That's the leverage. So my point is nobody has any leverage over me because I've said it all, I've made every mistake in the book, and I tell people about it so that they learn from it. And some people may go, oh my God, he cheated on his wife. I hate him. Click, turn the channel. Fine. I'm good with that. Change the channel. If I don't associate to you, change the channel. I'm okay with that. I'm not here for anybody's approval, right? I'm here to serve. And sometimes in serving, you say things that people don't want to hear. And that then shifts the responsibility to them with what they're going to do. Making mistakes in business. People want to judge me for, he went bankrupt a few times, and lost his money, lost other people's money. And okay, I did, but you know what? I haven't done that in well over 10 years. So now kiss my ass and either change the channel or listen to what I got to say. So anyway, so the point was the mistakes that people make are taking that with them, not letting that see the light of day, right? And there's some ramifications that you have to pay when you do that, right? You may have wronged somebody that doesn't know about it, but I can tell you that next level of success cannot be burdened by the mistakes that you made in the past. It just can't be. Because you're bound, all it does, you may climb a little higher, but you're going to come back down like Sisyphus, right? Sisyphus rolling that ball up the mountain, it's just going to roll back down on you, and you're stuck doing that. That ball that Sisyphus is rolling up is all of the challenges and the mistakes and the lies and the hiding that you've done in your past. So if you let that ball roll by you and go, this is what I did, here's where I'm at. Now, getting into business, the first major mistake that I see, why do 90+% of businesses fail in the first 10 years of operation? One is they're not properly resourced, okay? They don't have enough money. They don't have enough resources of different types. And they think that they can make things happen with the improper amount of resources. Now, you can make a lot happen with small resources if you have strategic thinking involved. But I'll tell you why in the third part here, why that fails so often, and it's because of emotional attachment to what you think your business is. Second reason that it fails is because poor management. And poor management is lacking the skill sets to understand about cash flow, about operations, about sales and marketing, and about culture and training for sustainable, long-term, predictable streams of revenue. So those are the two first things. And I was missing both of those when I went into business, right? And so the biggest piece is that you go in, you bypass the fact that you've got to have proper resources. You got to know how to utilize them, even if they're small. And you also have to learn basic management skill sets so that you can run your business. Basic management skill sets require the separation between you and high levels of emotion, which flies into the face of what most people do when they start a business or when they're operating a business. They think that if you can go out there and be positive-minded enough, that your business will magically be successful, okay? And so they start out, and what I tell everybody is just reverse back, even if you've been in business for 10 years, reverse back to the moment you started your business. Now,